Hello and welcome to the final instalment of what has been an epic day of MiniGP racing here at the Sirkuit Ricardo Tormo. The weather has been lovely. It's now up towards a toasty 19 degrees, certainly quite warm for November temperatures. And we just have the 190cc super final ready and waiting for us. Jack Gorson, Elliot York to talk you through this one. As for the rest of the day, and it's going to be a good one. We've seen some storylines in this one, and certainly on the grid. There's one rider in particular that is much further up than where he was in race 1 and race 2 earlier on, so we need to keep an eye out for that in particular rider. Is the number 72 of Alvaro Lucas, who will start in second position for this. But on pole, it will be the current points leader, Fratelli. The Italian on the number 67 machine. He's had 2 second places. Consistency is key. 40 points for him, and he is in the lead of this championship as it stands. But may we remind you one final time that there are double points on offer coming up in this one, and anything can happen.
Yeah, hello everyone. Good to be back in action. The final race of the day. What a day it's been. The sun is shining, perfect conditions towards the afternoon for these riders, and everyone down there on the grid. Fran Wild, of course, down in pit lane. There was plenty of MotoGP riders, Moto2 riders, Moto3 riders. I think that's Philip Salach in the background there. Joe Roberts is still down there as well. I can see John Hopkins too. So plenty of familiar faces for us and for these guys on the grid as well. Great to have some stars of now supporting the stars of future. And it's brilliant for these guys to experience this, to have some of their heroes alongside them on the grid. A big race coming up, of course, the super final. 19 laps of action coming up. Sorry, 20 laps of action. One more than we had in the 160cc final. 20 laps of action kicking off at 2 o'clock. So in around about 7 minutes time, 8 minutes time, we're going to get action underway. And as you rightly said, Jack, Alvaro Lucas, the story's mostly been about him so far in this class, coming from 12th on the grid in the first couple of races, won the opening race of the day, finished just off the podium in P4 in the second race of the day, and now starts from the middle of row 2. It's going to be fascinating to see how he gets on. It is,
yeah. Definitely keep your eyes on the number 72. Also keep your eyes on this little rider, the number 66 of Savino. Absolute rocket ship start in that second race of the day. Went from 4th on the grid and whole-shotted it by turn 1. So if he can do that again, then he'll be set up lovely for the rest of this race. Of course, then went on to finish in 3rd place in that race 2 just a couple of hours ago. So certainly got the pace coming into this one, and the pace was really, really close amongst kind of the top 4, mainly those top 4 in race 2. And of course, at the back of that top 4 was Alvaro Lucas. So we'll see exactly what happens with this one. There you did just see... completely lost the grid anyway.
Ben Wegener.
That was it. It was Ben Wegener. So the young German starts 4th on the grid and certainly done very, very good today, actually. Some really, really solid performances. Good pace. Let's hope that, like we've seen in the 160 race, he can then carry that on and do a little bit better in the super final here.
Ethan Rodriguez on the grid, middle of the second row, started from pole position in the first 2 races, so a bit of a different prospect looking down at the first corner for your 2021 160cc champion. The debut champion was Ethan Rodriguez a couple of years ago when the MiniGP started out. 2 years later, he's back on the grid in the 190cc class, looking to try and make it 2 championships in 3 years. A tough task ahead for Rodriguez. Starts this race down in 5th in the championship standings as Jack Miller strolls onto the grid.
I think he's got Joel Kelso in tow as well, so his fellow Australian. Good to see Jack still down here. Of course, was down here for the 160cc super final as well, so he's been floating around for a good hour and a half or so as Jack, so that's good to see. Joel Kelso there just giving a quick handshake as well to the Australians. There's Ryder Davis, first of the Americans on the grid in 7th. Doing a good job indeed. We'll see how he can go in this super final. Obviously going to be a tough race for everyone, really. 3rd race of the day. You know, they've already done a lot of laps around this circuit over the last 3 days since they've been here on Tuesday riding already. God knows how many laps they've done, but they must have done like 200 odd laps around this place already. So it's certainly going to be a bit of wear and tear on the bodies, but we'll see how they go with this one.
Yeah, the young have got plenty of energy, haven't they? So I think they'll be right. 5 extra laps coming up in the super final race. Can we just see how that plays out in the closing exchanges? Crucially, just as we've seen, maybe try and listen to the conversation.
Good luck. Stick it up.
Good luck, stick it up 'em. Classic Aussie style.
Yeah, well, just glad that there wasn't any dodgy words from Jack Miller there. But
Hi guys, sorry to cut you off, but
Hello,
I will do
Fran.
anyway. Got Jack Miller down on the grid. Jack, we saw you giving some words of advice there to the young guys. What can you tell us after watching them here today?
I think it's, you know, the second year now, isn't it, of this one? Third year now. So, I mean, it's an amazing event put on by you know, the Road to MotoGP, the guys at Dorna, and then, of course, with Ovale, you know, to get all these countries together in one spot and put on an amazing event for the kids like this is awesome. I mean, it gives the kids that much experience already. Just looking at the Aussie team this year compared to last year, it's been a massive improvement, and that's what you get when you get to go and see what the rest of the world's doing. So it's an amazing event, and to have it in Valencia is awesome.
It is, and it's awesome to have you here. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks.
always good to hear from Jack. Always really good when talking about this sort of stuff that actually matters. Certainly got a fairly sensible head on those shoulders, has Jack Miller. And of course, he's helped young Australian riders before. He's had the likes of Billy Van Erde when he was competing in Junior GP Moto 3. So certainly knows how to kind of really help riders progress, and particularly for the Aussies coming across to Europe to race here. And if they go elsewhere to race, you know, a lot of Aussies will go to Asia to race. They've always got to travel, put it that way. So it can be quite a big undertaking.
Yeah, he knows exactly what it takes to try and make a name for yourself in this part of the world. Of course, the MotoGP hub is in Europe. That's where most of the racing's done, of course, on the road to MotoGP. Obviously, there's the Asia Talent Cup and obviously the MiniGP series. But a lot of the racing's done in Asia. A lot of the riders who grew up in the likes of Australia and Asia do come to Europe to try and make a name for themselves. So Jack knows how tough that can be, but it's good to see lots of nationalities on the grid.
Here is your grid then. Pratelli on pole, of course, he is the championship leader. Then Lucas, arguably the one to watch, and you'd say maybe the favourite. Let's see what he can do from second on the grid, much higher than where he was earlier. Savino, then Wigner, Rodriguez, Vuono, Davis, Russo, and also that was Dunker completing the third row of the grid. Dunker has come through from 14th in the prior two races to top 10, so see what he can do from 9th, which seems to be good. And Hafai, Durdis, Raymond, Sylvan, Erlas, and also Kipitz.
Here we go then, the final race of the day, race 3 of 3 for these guys out there, the longest one of the lot as well, and the one that has the most at stake. I'm excited for this one. 20 laps coming up for the 190cc super final. And there's your front row, all looking eager to get on with things. 72 of Lucas, as we mentioned, plenty of times throughout the day. Probably starts this as favourite, given what we've seen so far, but it's not quite as simple as that in motorcycle racing, is it, Jack?
No, it never is. There's always something that can go wrong very easily for no fault your own. Maybe you have a bad start, which obviously is your own fault, but sometimes it can go that way. We saw in the 160cc super final earlier, Tagashi had a bit of a bad start, obviously came through to finish second, certainly not a bad result. Maybe those last few laps indicated he had the pace to go and challenge for the race win, and ultimately it was that bad start that held him back from doing that. So we'll see what happens here when the lights go out. I'm sure that Pratelli, well, one that will be getting a good start based on prior form from today is Savino on the end of the front row. So watch out for the number 66 Italian. You can see him there, just making sure the brakes got a nice bit of temperature in them.
Yeah, no whole shot devices on these Avali machines, so none of that going on for this
No.
one. As we get ready for the final race of the day, excited for this one. Under blue sunny skies, let's get it underway.
Here we go then, time to get revved up and ready to rock here for the 190cc super final. The lights are on and they are off. We are going. It's a pretty good start from everyone, it has to be said. But the best, once again, seems as though it's come from Savino from the outside of the front row, but sweeping through, that is Alvaro Lucas, the number 72. Beautiful move there from third to first in one corner, caught underneath them between turn 1 and 2. Heading to the lead, he goes.
Yeah, that was brilliant from Lucas. Thought he'd lost out, thought he dropped to P3 after getting a good initial launch, and around the outside I thought Pratelli was going to make his move stick, and Savino as well, but got the cut back. Really wide head on young shoulders is the number 72, and that is, I think, Pratelli that has gone down, the championship leader coming into this one.
Championship leader down then, the number 67. It's a long old race, but he's a long way back now, and if he is going to pull this off, that's another big crash. Who is that? That looked like one of the Australians. I couldn't quite make out the number, so that is either Dunker or Russo. We'll see what happens. Unfortunately it is Russo that has gone down. Hopefully he's okay. It did see him getting up onto his feet there. But as we do say, the championship leader coming into this, Pratelli, with this moment, just washed the rear out. It wasn't even the front that went. It looks like a bit of a low side there. Strange crash for the number 67. He has a lot of work to do now if he wants to pull off this championship victory.
Drama then in the early exchanges. Unfortunately for Pratelli, he lost a good 10 seconds, just under 10 seconds with that mistake. As Jack rightly says, just the rear end just washed out from underneath him around turn 9. Yeah, maybe slightly cold tyre, who knows, just pushing a bit too much in the early exchanges, but it leaves Lucas out front with a 0.8 second advantage. The fastest lap of the race incidentally goes to Rodriguez, his compatriot in the MiniGP Spain Series. This is the final corner. Who was it getting out of the shape? It was Levi Russo. That's a big crash for the young Australian. Good to see him back up on his feet, though.
Yeah, that was a big one. Hopefully he bounces well, and it looks as though he has done. But at the front then, it is, what is that? It's a 0.8 of a second gap that Lucas has over second place Savino. And there you would see in the championship, it would be Alvaro Lucas, the number 72 from Spain, taking this 190cc crown. Well, taking it home, I don't know. Oh, how many down there? That's 2 or 3 by the looks of it. One of the Italians at least. That was the number 65 of Buono, so the 2022.
Rodriguez as well.
Rodriguez, and who's the third rider there? Can't quite make out. Oh, that's massive shame for Vigna. He's been doing very, very good all day. 65, there you are, trying to get it going on the kickstart. No electric start on these motorcycles, a very basic bare bones, so they've got to be kicking away to get it done. But that is 3 of our big players all out in one incident. There you can see riders involved confirmed. 64 Vigna, 65 Buono, and the 74 of Rodriguez.
Yeah, interesting to see what happened. We saw it obviously unfold in the background, but we didn't see what happened in the lead up to it. What it's left is Lucas all out front on his own, basically. Savino is the only rider really who stands a good chance of trying to bridge that gap. It's up to 1.3 seconds now, so Lucas well on his way to claiming the title. Here it is. This is the picture that we got, so we can't quite see how it unfolded, but it looks like one of the riders... no, it was all separate.
Wow. Okay, so 2 separate low sides there from the 74 of Rodriguez, and then also the 65, which was, remind me again, it was Buono that went down too. And then unfortunately Vigna just came into the back and had nowhere to go, and I think he collected Buono's bike. So certainly a very, very unfortunate incident there, but glad to see all 3 riders look as though they were up and all okay.
Yeah, strange one that. What do you think could have caused that, Jack? Obviously we've seen a few riders go down, but not as many as this sort of today, really. We've seen a couple of crashes throughout the day, but is it just sort of pushing a little bit too hard maybe in the early exchanges, or? Yeah,
it could well be. I mean, these tyres don't take too much warming up, don't take a lot of heat into them supposedly, so really you wouldn't think it'd be a cold tyre type thing. But of course also this circuit is a karting circuit. It's maybe not the smoothest thing in the world. It might have just been bumps, and you see that they had an identical crash in essentially the same part, so it might have just been a bump that caught both of them out.
Here is your race leader then, Lucas. 1.5 seconds advantage was over the line. We'll see if Savino could cut that gap down below 1.5 seconds. He has the 142.9 for the pair in the lead. Just slightly quicker was Savino, but he's going to need a bit more than that. Pratelli, incidentally, who of course crashed out on the second lap, he's back up into P8, set the fast lap of the race at 42.4. He's nearly 8 seconds down on the lead though, so unless anything happens to Lucas, then it's looking like job done, unfortunately, for the championship at least. But Pratelli doing really well to fight back from that early disaster.
Yeah, he's doing a great job because he's had to make some overtakes, and he's 7.7 off the lead at the minute. When I had a quick look over at the timing screen, the lap after he crashed, that was about 8.5, so he's actually closed in while still making those overtakes. So he's certainly doing a fantastic job at the front. Anyone coming under pressure here? No, it seems that Lucas is still just eking out that gap, and he's only one of 2 riders in the 42s at the minute, and the other one is Pratelli, who just set the fastest lap of the race at a 42.398. He is flying.
Certainly is. Try and watch the group back. That's a good move up the inside. The 68 of Hafai, the Malaysian ATC rider, but he's bounced straight back as Ryan Davis on the 75. So a good battle in the fight for the final podium spot between Davis from the USA and Hafai from Malaysia. Then just a little bit further behind is Spain's Sylvain. That's a good group fight between him, Durdis, And then it's the fight with Dunker and Fratelli just off the back of that. You can see them there coming into your picture now.
Yeah, there is the 67 then of Fratelli, the championship leader coming into this, and the one that seems as though he might have thrown it all away, but he does have a gaggle of riders in front of him. He's only, what is he, 7.6 off the lead. And if you go up to third place, which is Ryder Davis, the American, he's only 5.2 off the lead. So 2.5 seconds of track, and you've got all the way up to a podium slot. And we do still have 12 laps to go, but I'm sure that Ryder Davis and the others, will certainly Hafai as well, will be giving a fair bit of competition and stick if Fratelli does try to come flying down the inside of them. Certainly for Ryder Davis, I think his best coming into the super final from race 1 was a 6th, so a third place would be a hell of an improvement.
Certainly would be. Lucas has got this pretty much under control, just hovering in the late 42 lap times. Incidentally, the top two were the only two in the 42s that time around, apart from Ethan Rodriguez, who has remounted, of course, but it's down in P13, unfortunately, for the 2021 title winner. There's going to be no championship trophy for him today, unfortunately, Rodriguez, after that mistake down at the final corner that saw 3 of the podium fighters all crash out.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, it's such an easy thing to do, make a mistake around here. We've seen plenty of crashes today, whether it's front end or rear end slide. Oh, you can see there the difference between Lucas's pace and Fratelli's at the minute. Fratelli absolutely on fire. He's now only 7.1 off the lead as he's now looking to go up the inside of the 73 of Sylvan, does so superbly. So he is now up into 6th place. We'll have to get a graphic up of the live championship just to see how that does change it. I'm sure it won't change anything at the top, but it might just drag Fratelli back into contention for those podium slots anyway.
Yeah, exactly that. Fratelli, of course, after crashing on the opening couple of laps, sort of waved goodbye to championship there and then. But if he can make a comeback like he's doing and finish on the podium at least in this race, that would be an absolutely stellar job to make up sort of around about 10 seconds after falling off and regathering your thoughts and composure as well, to get back on your bike, get back on the track and set the lap times you were doing before the crash. Is a really, really sterling effort from the young Italian.
Yeah, it shows he's a proper racer, doesn't it? It's nice to see the determination from these young riders, and of course they really are the stars of the future as well. I can guarantee you that some of these names in a handful of years time will be in the World Championship and fighting for some of Grand Prix Racing's most coveted prize. You can see the 66 with an exaggerated look over the shoulder. That was a real long neck view, wasn't it? Savino having a look over his shoulder. Well, he's got plenty of real estate behind him. He's got about 4.3 seconds over Ryder Davis in third, so no real reason to sweat for the young Italian. But there is reason to sweat for Ryder Davis and also Hafai, because the number 67 of Fratelli in just 2 laps. Look at the amount of room he's gapped Sylvan by as the 2 ahead. Look as though they've still battling away. But he's on the back of them now, and he can see a podium place.
Yeah, 42.4 last time around for Fratelli was a good 6-7 tenths quicker than Davis and Hafai. So he's caught the back of them. That's one thing, but then to try and overtake is another thing. But I think with the pace he's got in hand, there you can see 7 tenths of a second quicker last time around was Fratelli. Is he going to make a move up the inside down at the final corner? I'm sure we'll see in the background if he does. They're going to be coming to your screen now. It's pretty tight down there as we're focusing on the leader.
I think he might have. We'll just check as they come across the time screens. Yes, he did. He picked off Hafai then, so he's up into 5th place. Here is your race leader then. 2.1 seconds Lucas has over Savino. Well, it's pretty comfortable, isn't it? Well, how many laps have we got? We've got 6.5 laps left to go as well. And really, if you'd asked myself or Elliot before the race started, who was our money on? We probably would have said Lucas anyway. It's just so turned out that there's been a little bit of chaos behind with some crashes, and it's made the job a little bit easier for him. But still, this is the performance we did expect.
Yeah, exactly that. He got to the front when he needed to from second on the grid, and obviously the riders knew what pace Lucas has possessed, this weekend, and obviously pushing a little bit too much to try and not let him get away at the front. But it's credit to Lucas really to win race 1 from where he was on the grid, P12 after that qualifying penalty, and then to finish P4 last time out, to put him in a great position for the super final race. All credit goes to Lucas. It is unfortunate that the riders behind and closest to him in the championship have crashed, but that's just the way it goes, unfortunately. MiniGP is the start of their road. There's going to be ups and downs in their careers, that's for sure. But Lucas this week has certainly been an up.
Yeah, oh, there we go. Then there is the number 67 of Fratelli. Looks like he is through on Ryder Davis. So he now is into that 3rd position. I do not think he's going to close in Savino in front of his Italian teammate because, well, there's about 5 and a bit seconds between them. But it does mean, as you see the championship standards pop up now, that he will vault his teammate up into second overall in the 190cc championship. So certainly a fantastic recovery job this is from Patelli after that early crash. And also these early crashes, and you know, we take the example of Rodriguez. He crashed out of race 1 while leading, then obviously now he's had a crash as well, an unfortunate one when he's giving chase to the leaders. 2 valuable lessons in the career of a young motorcycle rider.
Exactly that. And this is what this is all about. Of course, it's nice to win, stand on the podium at least, but this is all about learning and being involved in such a brilliant event, surrounded by riders who are on the same journey as you, starting at the same moment, riding the same machines, having your heroes around you, the same sort of support system as well. That's what it's all about, gaining experience on the road to MotoGP. That's what it is designed to do. The number 66 of Savino, currently occupying P3 in the standings, but he is losing chunks of time to his compatriot Pitelli, but with pretty much 3 laps to go once they cross the line. I don't think it's going to be quite enough, but add a few more laps on, it might have been a different story.
One of the things that's really cool, we're talking about learning here, is we were chatting away to my good friend Harry Meanwell, who's a representative from FIM MiniGP UK and also Avali UK, as it looks as though Ryder Davis is going to fight back on this. But one of the things they learn here is that they do have a little bit of data on these bikes. They have engine speed and then also the GPS, so they can see their line around the racetrack. And it was very, very cool in just those 2 basic things where you can see the differences between lines, the speed, how, you know, how much, if it's spinning, because they do indeed spin actually, apparently, and even just how they handle the bump. So it was very, very cool, and the riders apparently have had a great time looking at that and adapting their lines and getting faster through the week. So it's a gateway into the, shall we say, the electronics world that motorcycle racing can often be, and it's really good to start them nice and young here.
Yeah, it's the first time I've sort of seen any of that stuff as well. It's really, really interesting, obviously, for the riders to see that and see how their competitors may be a bit stronger in some areas, a bit weaker in some areas, where they can learn and adapt their riding styles around the same circuit on the same machines. It's exactly what we mentioned in just gaining experience and just becoming better riders on the way to the World Championship, hopefully one day. A nice defensive line from Pitelli. He really wants that P3, doesn't he? You can understand that.
Oh, Ryder Davis has gone on just when he was looking nice and aggressive, looking to see which way he could get round. Oh, and he's almost side-sided again. Oh, blimey, stay on it, Ryder. We don't want another crash in the space of 4 seconds. But wow. So we are on to the last lap then, and that is going to relieve the pressure off Pitelli. He will take a fine 3rd place, but it is going to be this number 72 rider from MiniGP Spain, Alvaro Lucas, that is going to be your champion here in the 190cc class. Absolutely superb performance here in the super final. Got to the front, well, he was already at the front and just made it count. Put in those laps and no one could live with him. That move that he did from 3rd to 1st on the opening lap was absolutely delicious.
And that is ultimately what's going to win him the championship. As he rounds the final corner to cross the line, Jack, he is the 2023 champion.
Alvaro Lucas then, the number 72 from FIM MiniGP Spain Series, is your 190cc champion here in Valencia. Congratulations to Alvaro, a fantastic job today. Certainly wasn't giving it all his own way, had to start from 12th on the grid, don't forget, in race 1 and race 2 earlier after a technical infringement in qualifying, but came through, won that race 1 from 12th, an absolutely unbelievable performance, and then finished 4th as well in race 2. And he's got the job done here. Congratulations, 190cc champion.
Yeah, sensational stuff from Lucas, a really deserving champion here in Valencia. Savino did a great job to try and stick with Lucas throughout that race, picks up a P2. I think he'll finish 3rd in the overall standings, the young Italian. And Pitelli, 3rd place after crashing out, is a fantastic job. Well done indeed from the number 67. He'll, of course, be disappointed to crash out of that race, but when all is said and done, looking at the positives, maybe later on today, even tomorrow and throughout the week, he'll be pleased with what's gone on here. I'm sure,
yeah. I'm sure he'll be celebrating with a fruit shoot or something after the race here. But no, brilliant job from all these riders. As we say, the same with the 160cc class. Every single rider that's taken part this weekend, whether they qualified for the race day today or not, they've all done a remarkable job And the whole job has just been about learning, and they certainly have done that. The lap times have got faster and faster each day, faster and faster each race. It's been brilliant to see the progression. There you can see it there, Lucas confirmed as the champion by 16 points ahead of Pratelli and then Savino in third place. So the two Italians there doing a great job, locking out second and third.
Yeah, great race. In the end, we didn't have the battle that we would have wanted at the front, but it was intriguing nonetheless. The 66 of Savino will stand on the podium for the second time today. That's his best result of the day, after finishing 5th in race 1, then took 3rd in race 2, and then finishes 2nd in the super final to finish 3rd overall. Edoardo Savino from Monza in Italy, a job well done. Lorenzo Pritelli finishes 3rd on the day. He finishes 2nd overall after a couple of P2s in race 1 and race 2.
I think we've just dropped the bike in park for the main there. I think that was Savino that just accidentally almost tipped the bike over. The number 1 then, full of number 72. Congratulations to Alvaro Lucas. There you can see a bit of a slap on the helmet. I presume that was from Savino or Pratelli. Yeah, I think it was from Savino. So Savino's obviously a bit of a character, isn't he? But yeah, great to see. Not too exuberant with celebrations, but certainly he's very, very happy. And there we can see, I'm sure that was his dad. Little kiss on the neck there and a big hug. Well deserved.
Absolutely, yeah. Great to see them enjoying Parc Ferme, enjoying the celebrations that are coming up, of course, as well. The Champions Trophy will be handed to Alvaro Lucas very shortly.